Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
The Barley Room, proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Proview Network crew, assemble!
That's good. We're first.
High school sports are back live on Proview Sports Network.
Good morning, Albuquerque, and welcome to RedMenace TV here on Proview Networks. Leroy Lucero, along with Michael Carlisle.
What's up? And Sebastian. Whoa. Where's Sebastian?
We're hiding him. As big as he is, we could still hide.
Bro.
No, Sebastian's going on, and he started at like typical of most people that come on RedMenace TV. They end up getting their own show.
They parlay that into bigger things.
Right, they get their own show, and he's been local. I can't remember what it's called exactly, the local view, but he gets a lot of local focus with Sebastian Noel, former co-host of RedMenace TV. He lasted all of 3 weeks, but that's good. I'm happy for Sebastian. He's a superstar.
All I got to say is I must be an underachiever because I'm still here.
Yeah, well, Mike has parlayed everything on. I think he's on 610 with you almost daily.
He's on with Mike Adams.
He's on the mic on Saturdays. So Mike has been able to parlay that into, not that he didn't have his own special brand going with CageMinds.com, and of course we brought you on. Gosh, it's been a couple of years now, hasn't it?
At least. Oh, it was almost a couple of years before I got in the intro.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Sebastian didn't even get a chance to get into the intro, and he's gone already. Got his spin-off. We're like the king of spin-offs here. Everyone spins off of this show.
So we're like all in the family, and he's the Jeffersons?
Yeah, I guess that would be right.
I probably could have come up with something a little more recent, I guess.
It would probably be better than like, what was it, Happy Days turned into Joni Loves Chachi?
Yeah.
Do you remember? So I guess Jeffersons was at least successful.
We're Cheers, and he's Frasier.
There you go. So
Yeah.
he's moving on up as the Jefferson. So congratulations, Sebastian. We're going to miss him.
Good job, bro.
Yeah, there you go. Bye, Sebastian. No, we couldn't really hide him down here. Anyways, we're live now. We take the show live. We're on Facebook Live if you're watching us now, or
if you're watching us, you know that.
Yeah, exactly. Or Comcast. Obviously, we're there live if you're here in Albuquerque and you have Comcast. So that's cool as well.
You know that as well too if you're seeing this now.
And for those of you that maybe you didn't know who we are, maybe you're new to the network, you're new to this station. We're RedMenace TV. Michael Carlisle, of course, you can hear him afternoons on the award-winning 610 D Sports and
That's right.
what's 95?
95.9 FM at AM 610
Guess what?
D
I
Sports
finally
Animal.
did it. I finally did it. I'd been listening to you 610 forever, but I finally put 95.9 on my preset.
To the FM too?
It took me a while. But I mean, I'm used to being an AM guy. So it's just like I know, listening to 770, they went FM as well.
They're FM as well. You can listen to both of us on the FM.
Right, it's crazy, right? And I do now. I do. I finally made the switch over the summer. We were gone for the summer. We took the summer off, which is good. How was your summer?
I went to camp. I was missing the show. Really?
Yeah,
I had nothing else to do. I had to work.
I know. We had a lot of stuff to talk about over the summer, and we did the tweeting and all that stuff.
Since we've been gone, there have been not one but two Board of Regents meetings to cut sports at UNM. I mean, my gosh.
I mean, there's nothing, right? We had some DWO. You went to Las Vegas a couple of times.
I've been to
did
Vegas
you
a couple of times for UFC.
Few UFC stuff. Yeah. Micah's had, of course, CageMinds.com. There's always kinds of stuff going on there. I was jokingly laughing. This weekend starts, obviously, here on Proview. We're going to have all the high school sports here in Metro. And then Lobo football starts in a couple weeks. It's like, now that season starts, we don't have anything to talk about.
Actual games.
Yeah, we have to talk about games now. It's like, okay, whatever. We can't talk about sports cuts and all the other stuff that
I just assumed that's why we were forced to take the summer off, so we wouldn't talk about it.
So we wouldn't talk about
it.
Because, of course, I wield that big hammer.
Sure.
The bludgeon brother or whatever. Can I be one of those guys? Do you have to wear a mask or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, man. I don't have
Might be an improvement. You do have a mask. I've seen you wear it. There in the north end zone. I've seen you wear your mask.
It's been years, though. It's been years,
and
to
you
be
got
honest.
A wig and a hat.
I do, but I haven't worn that, and it's been at least 4 to 5 years.
It's time to break that back out.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Hold on. What have you been preaching the entire summer? Support Lobo football. Support Lobo football.
I'll go out there.
Oh, no, I know. But you've got to do your part to rile up the fans and get everybody going. Show up in your wig.
All
show up in your mask or your face paint, your sombrero.
Oh, it's been a few years.
Your goofy old man hat that you wear a lot.
The goofy old man hat? That thing's styling and profiling. What are you talking about?
If you're 65, of course.
Ric Flair is about 65.
And you're about 65.
No, not quite. I have to say that I did complete and I did get my degree from CNM. So that was pretty cool. That was an enjoyable part of summer. So being off actually helped a little bit because it allowed me to do homework.
Now, did they have a ramp so you could get up the stage easier?
I got one of those little scooters, dude, so I could go to the ramp and get my diploma. Excuse me, can you hand me that thing? But no, I did that, and I started at New Mexico Highlands. In fact, right after this show, I'll be heading up to, not in Las Vegas, but in Rio Rancho and continuing my education. So that's been exciting. And we'll talk about some other stuff. We're going to bring Micah on here soon.
Come out.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they had a seniors program for furthering your education.
Oh, yeah, man. Come on. They allow 90-year-olds into school now. I mean, I could.
So you're not the oldest?
No, not even close. Not even close. Which is cool. I feel like a young kid now, a young 50-year-old.
When you try to show up at the frat house for the parties, do the frat guys just like pick on you and stuff and make fun of you because you're old?
No, man, they follow along. They like just fall behind. It's just like the leader of the pack right
Golden Girls marathons. And
actually, I have been watching that because it's Wednesdays off, It's been Wednesdays off. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Football season, like I said, is right around the corner. I think we should probably talk about Board of Regents meetings, AGs, and mayors, and state legislatures, and everybody else getting involved in a sport that nobody paid attention to for the past, I don't know how long they've been running soccer here, but basically nobody's paid attention to it.
That's probably not fair to say.
It's fair to say.
No, I think people have paid attention to it because they've been good. Now, have they actually gone out?
Yeah.
A lot of people haven't, but you know what?
So you're saying you read it in the paper?
Not trying to take shots, but that's not the only sport that people don't go out to watch.
Award-winning radio talk show host.
Yes.
Right? How many years now?
Oh, heck, I've been there for like 14 years.
14 years. 14 years. Now, you haven't done talk show host all 14,
No.
right? So let's say you've been doing the afternoon show.
I think it's 4 years.
Almost 4 years. Before that, you were on the morning show with Jeff and JJ.
Right.
About a year?
Yeah, about a year.
Okay,
Like
so of the 14 years, you've done 5 years on radio.
Correct.
Right? In those 5 years, in those 5 years, how much times did you talk about swimming, diving, soccer?
Swimming
even
and diving,
baseball?
none.
Okay.
Soccer, not a lot. I'm not a soccer guy.
Well, I'm just saying, how
Right.
many times has that been a topic of conversation? Because I know callers call into the show. How many times have they called in and said, "Hey, Mike, I'd really like to talk about"?
And look, when they're making, NCAA tournament runs and they're in the championship game or they're in the final, yeah.
You did like 1 or 2.
Sure. Again, not to poke the bear, but that's more than other programs at UNM have been. Look, I'm with you. Look, tough decisions had to be made. I understand why they cut it. It stinks you have to cut anything, but I don't think you have to throw rocks at sports, after they've been cut. I mean,
no, and I mean I don't want to get fully into it yet because I want to dedicate a whole segment to it because it has been probably the story of the summer, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah.
I mean I can't think of as we took the summer vacation and everything else, I can't think of another story that's grown such legs. Can you? I mean, or had staying power. What else?
Yeah. Last summer.
Last summer?
Scotland Gate.
Okay.
AD retiring.
Yeah, that's true.
New basketball coach.
That's true.
Players leaving basketball. Players coming into basketball.
Yeah, I mean,
AG
that
investigation.
was, but I'm talking this summer.
State auditor investigation.
I'm talking this summer.
This summer? Oh no. This summer.
I mean, this is the
that's been
story, and it's kind of weird because that's 2 years in a row now.
It's the other story.
Which one's that one?
Bob Davey.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we kind of
The
left
early
with
part,
that one
yeah.
though.
Yeah.
But since we've been gone, I think that's been the story that's kind of grown and stayed strong and powerful and strong like bull. But anyways, I can't think of anything else that's really lasted this long and really caught the attention of the entire New Mexico public, I guess.
No, I would agree with you on that.
And so it's kind of weird though. That's 2 summers in a row now that all we've talked about is investigations, cuts, money, people getting bounced.
Money makes the world go round.
Yeah, I guess so. Speaking of money, we should probably take a break and come back, and then we'll do
With Money Micah Frankel?
Well, no, not yet. We're going to
Okay.
have him on the third segment. We'll come back and we'll talk about the soccer stuff and the other sports that were cut, and the longest Board of Regents meeting that I actually listened to it. Can you believe that?
It was actually shorter than the first one.
Was it really? Well,
Now,
they were smart.
They had a break in the first one.
Yeah.
But
they were smart. They said you got 3 minutes, and there was a
They
few
didn't
people that were
really
like,
stick to the 3
"You're
minutes."
out."
Yeah.
We'll be back right after this on RedMenace TV.
That's driven, that's speed, that's gone. That's a 2-run bomb turned in by Gabby Gomez.
Jamal, man, this beat Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
I'm checking it out, man.
Dude.
I'm watching us on live Facebook, doing it live, watching us.
But Leroy, we're doing it live. You don't have to watch us doing it live.
I know, but I, you know, to be honest, in the 7 years that I've done this show, I've never watched myself on TV because I hate that.
You probably shouldn't do it now when, you know, you're on TV.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's just kind of interesting to see that we're on live
Tom
TV.
Brokaw had it so wrong. Greatest generation in my rumpus.
Michael Cardall of 610 The Sports Animal, the award-winning sports bar.
Yes.
You guys had your birthday bash, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure did.
How many years is that now?
That was 24th.
24th. I've actually been listening for 24 years. I know all the old hosts and the new hosts and everything else. I'm
Rock on.
avid listener. Have been for 24 years, so it was awesome.
Dude, I've already agreed to keep doing the show. You don't have to suck up. Really. I mean, I'm here, all right? I'm here.
I know. I hear you. I'm just saying, I just want to let the people know that, of course, you're out there, always out there. And, of course, you can catch it on 610 The Sports. Is it, what, have you changed the website as well?
You don't listen at all, do you?
Well, there's certain things I don't pay attention to. Why would I pay attention to the website? I don't need to go there. I listen to you on the actual radio.
It took you 8 months to
get to the FM. Yeah, I know. How many times did I say? And see, that's what I learned over summer because I'm a student now.
You still haven't done it right. The first time you've done it right. But no, you can listen to us on 95.9 FM or AM 610. If you want to stream, you can get us on iHeart. Of course, our website, sportsanimalabq.com. And you can listen there as well.
And I do listen to iHeart as well. So, in fact, I was listening yesterday morning. My new partner on website.
That's right. The
Enchantment
other big thing that's happened this summer. Yeah,
EnchantmentSports.com. I joined Mark Smith and Greg Archuleta, as well as former Lobo Daniel Ferris. And in fact, we're going to have a preview. I'm going to have Sebastian Noel and Adam Deal talking about the games that will be broadcast here on Proview every week. So we're going to do a preview and a review, and we'll be doing some other stuff high school-wise as far as player of the week, that sort of thing. And obviously Greg Archuleta, longtime beat writer for the Lobo football program. He's going to go back and write football, which is kind of cool because I was kind of burnt out on writing about Lobo football. So Greg's going to take care of that. Mark Smith, he that used to do the Lobo beat writer for basketball, he's going to go back and do that with Paul Weir. So we're kind of joined in on that and kind of doing that thing. So that's been a lot of fun.
So they're going to soar to their strengths and you're just kind of out there.
No, I actually.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
If you go to Enchantment Sports right now, I have a really great column that just came out about my 30 years of almost 30 years of media and how things have changed in those 30 years.
You certainly have a very high opinion of yourself.
I do. Hey, if you can't pat your own back, who's going to do it, right?
You got that.
So
right.
Anyway, let's go on to, like we talked about, the big news of the summer, and that's Lobo Sports. Before we left. Eddie Nunez and President Stokes had talked that they were going to look and cut some sports, and I think we had talked with Jeff Grammer, the Albuquerque Journal, and some other people about they're probably not going to do it, and they eventually did it, where they cut 4 sports. It was skiing, of course, which I think
men's and women's skiing, soccer, women's beach volleyball,
and women's diving.
Yeah.
And then so they had the first
that was the first Board of Regents meeting,
which was a cluster.
It was interesting. A couple of complaints were made to the State Attorney General's office. Hector Balderas determined that they did not give notice in a timely manner, and the notice was incredibly vague. So they made them redo the vote.
What do you think about that decision?
I think if you're on the women's diving team, it was superb because you got a reprieve. The Board of Regents voted to keep that sport. Ultimately, though, the other 3 sports, they vote to cut, much like they did the first time around. What did I think of it?
First of all, what did you think about all the politicos getting involved, politicizing the decision?
Look, it was a hot button issue. And Lobo fans, no, it was. It absolutely was. You can agree with it or not.
Yeah, I agree.
But it was a hot button issue. Lobo fans were very upset about sports being cut. And whenever you have constituents voicing their opinions on something, you've got to get in on that as well. So whether it was what Balderas did, Tim Keller, the mayor, coming out and voicing his support for soccer and saying, oh, there's a way, there's money there, there's a way. Didn't he investigate UNM and look into their finances a year ago? He should know better than anyone that there's struggles there. But ultimately, the ultimate takeaway I took from it is what a Lobo thing to do, what a UNM thing to do. You have to have 2 votes to cut sports because you couldn't get it right the first time.
Right. Well, so the first time everybody knew they were going to cut sports. I don't think that was a surprise. They went ahead and had the public meeting, which was just like, oh my goodness. And at the end, it was just, they didn't even really have to talk. It was just like, all right, you guys ready to vote? Yep, let's go 6-0, you're done. Pow, we're out. Then, of course, like you said, all the politicos got involved. People were upset. It's not the first time UNM has cut sports.
No.
And I don't think it'll be the last time either.
Well, hopefully it is.
No, I don't think so, because UNM's still carrying too many sports. More so than anybody else, I think, in the conference, other than Air Force, who's funded by the federal government, so they can have as much sports as they want.
This gets them down to what, 19?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because they were at 22.
Yeah, I think it gets them down to 19, because, yes, it was 19. Yeah. And they can have 16, I think, and still remain in the Mountain West Conference. Well, and there's still no money.
Right. Well, and keep in mind, too, the sports that were cut, none of them participated in the Mountain West Conference.
Exactly.
So, none of that had any bearing on the conference affiliation.
So the battle came back, obviously, and I have to give the Board of Regents credit in one thing, is they made it quick for the second fiasco. Rather than sit there and goof around with it and try to draw it out forever and ever. And I know a lot of people were talking about, well, they're probably going to table it and let the legislature basically try to save the sports, which I don't really think there was actually a real legitimate thing on the table, or at least that's what President Stokes said during the meeting. She said they had something that could kind of like keep them afloat for 1 year, but it doesn't pay back the back debt and it doesn't move forward.
And that's the other part of it. It's not, look, well, first of all, there's the Title IX aspect of it, but, but we'll set that aside for a moment. It's strictly money. Not only are you trying to figure out a way to balance your budget every year, but what a lot of people forget is you've still got years and years where you were finishing in the red. You still got to pay that money back.
Yeah.
So it's not just about trying to scrape by and find a break-even point. You've actually got to try to save a little money so you can, pay back your debts.
Yeah. So let's take the emotion out of it.
Okay.
Because that's all. I mean, you're a sports fan. Passion is part of that.
Absolutely.
I totally get where soccer fans that show up are passionate about the sport itself. I totally get it. I don't disregard that at all. But there has to be some reality, and you talked about they've been in the red for, it seems like forever.
8 of the last 11 years, I
Yeah,
believe.
so I mean, when you take the passion out of it and you start looking at the monetary aspect of it and the fact that there are too many sports, there had to be cuts made. I don't think this is, now a lot of people are saying, well, it doesn't take away the entire 1.9 million that they're losing. And it's like, no, that's true, but it's a start.
It's a start. It gets you closer. Some tightening of the belt. Hopefully you can get a little more money from the legislature, from donations, and make a go of it and make this work. But look, they're tough decisions for a reason. If they were easy decisions, nobody would complain, nobody would even notice. And unfortunately for the men's and women's ski team, for beach volleyball, and what's got most fans most upset, the men's soccer, you had to make those tough decisions. And they're not popular decisions, but they're decisions that ultimately UNM felt like they had to make. And certainly there are people who are upset about it. I completely understand it. If I were a soccer fan, I would be upset as well. But you have to make those decisions and try to do what you think is best for the athletic department and for the university moving forward. And that's what they did.
You brought up Title IX. You said we'll table it. Let's bring that back out. Sure. Because obviously one of the things that in the second Board of Regents meeting, they brought up Title IX quite a bit. And I think it came out at that point, I think it was, I can't remember if it was Eddie or President Stokes that said it came down to soccer or baseball. So it was going to be a men's sport that was going to be cut. And I think as we're looking nationally, not just here at UNM, but other schools, they're going to start looking at soccer or baseball as being cut. I mean, Title IX is the reason, is it not?
It's certainly part of it, the expenses that go into both of those. As far as baseball goes, that would have been, then you start getting into Mountain West Conference issues because not every Mountain West Conference team plays baseball.
No.
Off the top of my head, I know Wyoming doesn't. I'm pretty sure there are a couple of others.
I don't think Colorado State does either.
If you cut baseball, and I'd have to go back and look, there may not be enough conference teams to play Mountain West baseball. You may have to have these teams go elsewhere. At that point in time, you're messing up conference revenue, and the conference isn't going to be happy about that. So you start getting pressure from them. Plus, with baseball, you've got that new facility that they're still doing some stuff to, but that they've gone out, raised a lot of money for all the bad looks that UNM seems to get whenever they do something. Can you imagine a worse look than cutting a sport that you just raised a lot of money to build a new facility for?
And I think that was the overall, that was the final decision. I think that's what made it. Look, let's just say it. I mean, I enjoy watching soccer. I watch it, and I think we've joked about this in the past about watching European soccer and stuff. And let's face it, the city of Albuquerque, the state of New Mexico, now has a couple of soccer programs, pro soccer, the Soul's around. They just announced that the USL is going to open up. They're going to be playing in Isoduke Stadium this coming year. Right now, I mean, it has a capacity of 6,000 fans in there. UNM averaged barely 1,000 fans a game this past season. Years before that, I mean, people were saying, "Wow, we averaged like 2,000-3,000." That's solid. Still wasn't making money, but it was at least there was people watching. It's not making money. You have the Title IX situation that's there, and everyone can say, "Well, it's not a big deal." It is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
That's federal law. I mean, you can't really change that. And you're not making money. You're in the red. I mean, it stinks. But it's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah, again, tough decisions are tough decisions for a reason because they're hard and they're difficult. And no matter what you ultimately decide, there's going to be a big segment of people you upset making those decisions. Ultimately, you have to make them. Now, look, I feel incredibly bad for Jeremy Fishbein. I think, he's a phenomenal coach.
He is.
And he does things the right way. He turns out not only good players, but good students and good people who go out in the community and do good things. He's been very successful there. I truly feel bad for him. And I wish there was some way to save all those sports, but unfortunately, there's not. So you do have to make those tough decisions. And, as far as fans go, you can continue to be upset about it and whine and complain and not support the other sports, but that's not going to solve anything. Or if you're truly Lobo fans, not just a fan of a sport, but, of the university, of the entire athletic department, go out and support those other sports. I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy Lobo football tickets, but buy baseball tickets, buy basketball tickets. Yes, by all
Buy
means,
that pass,
buy
that
football
Pride
tickets
pass or whatever.
Right. I mean, go out
or scratch a check.
Otherwise, like you said, maybe a couple years down the road, you're in a similar situation.
Well, I know there's 3 more sports for sure that they can cut, but I was looking at Wyoming or Colorado State. They're down to like the bare minimum. They're down to like 11, 12 sports. So it's not that many. These other schools are doing it. So, like I said, they haven't made money. I looked back when Rudy Davalos cut sports in '99, a very successful men's gymnastics program. Looking at the NCAA then in 1999, the amount of men's gymnastics, which is non-existent. Wrestling used to be a pretty popular Olympic sport or non-revenue sport, whatever you want to call it, in the NCAA. There's not very many schools that have men's wrestling or wrestling at all anymore.
And that was one of the things that ultimately did skiing in. Look, that's been a successful program. They won a skiing national championship, but you've got less than 30 schools nationally that have ski teams. So you get into travel issues trying to go to competitions and meets and whatnot. And let's not overlook that as well. We pointed out that none of these schools play in the Mountain West. Well, let's look at soccer. You were playing in Conference USA.
Yep.
That's an awful lot of trips back to Charlotte and West Virginia and Tennessee and Florida and all that. Ultimately, when you look at expenses each of these programs had, that was a big determining factor as well. You said it came down to soccer or baseball, and maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But baseball being in the Mountain West, your travel, and don't get me wrong, they go out in other places,
sure,
but the bulk of your travel is in your geographical footprint, and travel's a lot cheaper.
Well, you mentioned that's a very UNM thing to do. That would have been a very UNM thing to do. Build up the stadium, get money donated, and then cut the sport. That would have been, right? Yeah, I'm just saying. And I feel bad. As far as Fishbein, he'll be fine. I mean, he's a quality coach.
He's had job opportunities in the past and turned them down.
Yeah. Whether it's NCAA or whether it's professional, he'll be fine.
Sure.
I personally think, and this is just me personally thinking, I think soccer in the men's soccer in NCAA will become a thing in the past within the next decade. I think it's going to go more club sports, more professional sports as you start seeing the MLS continue to gain. Is it MLS or MSL?
MLS.
MLS. As it continues to gain traction in the United States. And now with the minor leagues like the USL that's coming here to Albuquerque. By the way, I still think they should name them the Chicharrones, but that's just my opinion. I love the mariachis it almost made me go to an Isadukes game because I really dig that little bobblehead. But anyway, I know I'm regressing there, but I think soccer will become a thing in the past. And that's just at that level. I think it'll be good for professional, but I don't think, because it splits 2 seasons and it's messy and clunky and it's not making money.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to pretend to be a soccer expert, but I don't think that's the case at all because, look, you're right. In other countries, you have academies, you have the clubs and all that. That just doesn't seem to really be taking hold here. And for whatever reason, we decided to do it a different way. So much like your baseball, your basketball, your football, college becomes your chief way of finding young players. So I don't know that ever goes away. Now, certainly schools with tough budgetary issues, like here at UNM, where
like
you
all
have
of them?
to make tough decisions. But most places, if you're successful in a sport, they'll find a way to keep it. Keep in mind, it wasn't just money. You had the Title IX aspect of it, and you were going to have to cut them in sports somewhere.
Absolutely.
And honestly, your options were somewhat limited.
Absolutely. Hey, we're going to take a quick break here on our Back to School show, I guess is what we would say. Hey, it's back to school, right? All the kids are back at high school, back to school for me. And we're going to come back with Micah Frankel at CageMinds.com for the latest, greatest, the most impressive news about MMA, boxing, and UFC too, right?
UFC is MMA.
Oh, okay. Break it.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
The Barley Room, a proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car crafters, it's like it never happened.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Proview Network crew, assemble!
That's good. We're first.
High school sports are back live on Proview Sports Network.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Micah Frankel, this is Cage Minds, and I know what you're thinking. Why don't I have a spinoff already? Everybody seems to be on that train today, so I'm going to jump aboard the caboose too. And yeah, where's my spinoff? Well, let's get to some highlights. We're back, we're talking about combat sports, and there was Bellator this past weekend. Right away, James Gallagher starts the night mouthing off, and that'll only get you so far after eating a right hand, not being able to get his takedowns, and then eating a couple more right hands. A spectacular debut for Ricky Banuelos, the CFC champion, and right there putting an exclamation point on shutting up Gallagher, who obviously went into the fight with a lot of confidence. Was not broken, though, as he started mouthing off 5 seconds later on Instagram. He's fine, even though he got knocked out that devastatingly. We can go now to the co-main event. Devastating and dominant wrestling performance here. That is Logan Storley on top, a South Dakota wrestler, a Brock Lesnar protege, and just shows his top-level Division I wrestling pedigree in grinding out and bludgeoning AJ Matthews en route to taking a decision victory. The welterweight division is Bellator's best, and Storley is another top prospect added into that mix. Now we can go take a look at our last highlight from Bellator 204. We go to the main event. We're there with the Braids. Darian Caldwell, the bantamweight champion, jumps up to featherweight, wanting to become a champ. And Noad Lahet, who was 2-1 in the promotion, had no answers for the wrestling and the top pressure of Caldwell. When he finally made that desperation move to try to get back up to his feet, Caldwell with vicious ground and pound finds the finish. That wasn't the only action that we had this past weekend. We're going to go now to some CES MMA highlights from Philadelphia. 5-round fight, welterweight vacant title on the line, and after 5 rounds, it's Jeremiah Wells getting the advantage, being able to control the action for 3 of the 5 rounds, getting takedowns on wrestler Jason Norwood, and even finding a couple knockdowns. A big victory now for Wells. Only 6-1-1 in his career. Another top prospect to keep an eye on, somebody from the East Coast. We have one more highlight for you from this past weekend. We're going to go to the Pro Fighters League for this one. The Pro Fighters League has needed a star to give it some relevancy, and Ray Cooper III may be that star. Devastating punching power. Big knockout right there of Pavel Kush. You can check out the final regular season event of the Pro Fighters League next Thursday on the 30th, and then we'll be moving towards the playoffs. If you haven't heard about the Professional Fighters League, we're talking about 6 weight classes. Each weight class has 12 fighters. They're having the regular season to dwindle it down to 8 guys in the playoff format, and then you will have 1 champion crown for each of the 6 divisions. And at the end of that golden road, besides the title, is $1 million for being the season winner. Bringing MMA to a actual kind of league aspect, the PFL, you can check them out on NBC Sports. Move on to our next slide. Well, UFC meets WWE, and a big draw is back for the UFC as Brock Lesnar has re-entered the octagon. Daniel Cormier, while we were gone over the summer, defeated Stipe Miocic, becomes the 2-division champion in the UFC, and all signs point to the big drama show coming next, Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Cormier. Another heavyweight fight that seems to be on the horizon, but in the boxing world, in our next slide. Yes, that seems to be happening. Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. Tyson Fury seems to have gotten his personal issues under control. He improved to 27-0 with a unanimous decision win this past weekend over Francesco Palita, setting up the matchup with the 40-0 WBC heavyweight champion. Still some logistics to be worked out on that one, but instead of Joshua Wilder, Fury Wilder seems to be next up for the Bronze Bomber. Now, some fights that are actually taking place that we're not just speculating about when it'll be happening. September 8th, a huge event. The UFC is in Dallas, Texas. The main event, Tyrone Woodley defending the welterweight title against Darren Till. First time ever, the women's flyweight title is going to be on the line in the co-main event. Nico Montano defending against Valentina Shevchenko. Not to mention John Dodson and Diego Sanchez, also Albuquerque natives, will be on that card. We'll go to the next event that we're talking about. Same night, across the country, in Brooklyn, a huge boxing event. You got Danny Garcia, Sean Porter in the main event. That's going to be a spectacular bout. Porter's going to be looking to land the heavier shots, while Garcia, the technician. Couple more fights to talk about. A huge one for the boxing world, the rematch. Much anticipated. We know that we've learned about clenbuterol and more tainted meat from cows in Mexico, but that is not to stop it. Canelo Triple G2 taking place in Las Vegas September 15th. Keep going with it. Bellator, September 29th. They will launch their digital streaming partnership with the service DAZN. DAZN will be where you can watch the Anthony Joshua boxing fights, not to mention a bunch of other sports. That's going to be another $9.99 a month subscription for you. But also on that event, you will be kicking off Bellator's second World Grand Prix, this time in the welterweight division. Here's how it goes down. That bottom matchup there is an alternate match. The first fight kicking off this Grand Prix will be Douglas Lima, Andrei Korshakov, the 2 former champions, meeting for a 3rd time. There's your tournament for the Bellator Welterweight Grand Prix. That's going to be a great one. October 6th, the UFC, the biggest event that they're hoping ever to put on, UFC 229, Khabib Nurmagomedov defending the UFC lightweight title against Conor McGregor. Yes, Dana White's favorite fighter is back. Conor McGregor, can he knock out Nurmagomedov, or does he get grinded out? That's the two options that we have. The following weekend, Bellator has a big event also. A lot of people have been looking forward to this one. It's the semifinals of the Heavyweight Grand Prix. Fedor Emelianenko versus Chael Sonnen. Keep going with the big events that we're talking about. And then next, we're talking about the UFC's 25th anniversary event. They're going to be in Denver, Colorado on November 10th. That card is going to be headlined by Frankie Edgar versus the Korean Zombie. And then also special interest here, they have shared the mat and shared the cage in the Jackson Wink Gym together. They'll now go to war for real in the octagon. Donald Cerrone, Mike Perry are going to throw down in Denver. So that's going to be a great one. We also have one championship I need to tell you guys about. If you haven't and you want to watch some free fights, check out the One Super app. One Championship, changing the way weight cutting and weigh-ins are done in a positive notion that needs to happen for combat sports. Also One Championship featuring MMA, kickboxing, boxing, all in one arena. A full combat sports event with One Championship. If you have the ability, check them out. The One Super app is free to download and to watch all their events. It's just waking up in the morning as they're Asia's biggest promotion. And I think I've made it all the way around to what we're actually having this weekend. There's UFC on FS1 for the main card. Lightweights, a top 10 encounter at the top of the card. Just in the highlight reel, Gaethje, the former WSOF champion, 3 fights in the octagon, 3 fight of the night performances, taking on rising star James Vick. Vick, a tough Texan, boxing centric. Somebody's getting knocked out in this fight. And I think that's all the slides we actually have for this week. A couple notes on the local scene. September 1st, Farmington, New Mexico. WFC is coming, World Fighting Championships. They're bringing a pro-am. We're going to have amateur MMA and kickboxing, professional MMA at the top of the card. Same night, Sky U Casino up the road in southern Colorado is playing host to King of the Cage, Aggressive Lifestyle. September 14th, Holloman Air Force Base is host to American Fight League, Clash of the Titans 3. September 22nd, Holmes Boxing, a stat card up at Buffalo Thunder. Check out cageminds.com for all the updates on all of the local ongoings and everything nationally too. Go to the Cage Minds MMA Show YouTube page. We have a new interview up with UFC legend Stephan Bonnar following this past weekend's Destiny Wrestling Organization event. And in just a moment, we'll be back with more Leroy and Michael and more Red Menace TV.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach. change by coaching beyond the game.
Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today. Proview Network crew, assemble!
That's good. We're first.
High school sports are back live on Proview Sports Network.
Hey, welcome back to RedMenace TV. You know what impresses me about Micah the most?
What?
How does he do all those ABCs? UFC, MMA, KOTCK, WFE, UFH, all these different acronyms and everything that how do you remember all that stuff?
Well, he's about 45 years younger than you.
Yeah,
so obviously that's part of it. Look, he's a student
No,
of his
he
craft.
is. He's really good at what he does.
For sure.
I met Micah, gosh, we had another gentleman that was doing some UFC stuff for us, and that's when I met Micah. And when that guy was gone, it's been a while. How many years has it been now, Micah? 2?
Too long.
Too long. Too long. Okay, too long for Micah. But that's where I met Micah as we had him on one of the segments, and I'm like, this guy's solid. He replaced the guy because he's just good, because he remembers the HMFEC, QRT, whatever it is. He didn't mention WWE, though.
Well, he tries to focus more on
combat sports.
Well, yeah.
Come on, dude. Shield's back together. You were at DWO. How did that go?
Oh, that was awesome.
Stephan Bonner?
Yep, UFC Hall of Famer. Stephan Bonner was there, the American Psycho. Raven, wrestling legend as well. No, that's always a good time.
Yeah, and they're at a new place now?
Yeah, they're at the Cesar Chavez Community Center, and it was a packed house on Saturday night. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. I gotta get back into that. It's just been, being a student's hard. Saturday nights, you got frat parties and stuff. Even old frat parties, people in walkers and canes and those little scooters, and you can get some dancing going, square dancing on your scooter.
So does applesauce come in kegs?
Applesauce by the keg. Pour me some of the cinnamon one, bro. Hey, speaking of coming back, we talked about this at the beginning of the show. Football season starts, high school football, and it starts tomorrow night, Thursday night. Cibola versus Sandia. That's at Wilson Stadium. That's going to be a good one. Of course, you can catch that here on Comcast 26 and the NFHS Network. Also, the Rio Grande Ravens will be playing the Highland Hornets, also on the NFHS Network, 7 p.m. What's that? Oh, yeah. Rio Grande's trying to break that losing streak that they have, and this might be their best opportunity of the year. I was listening to Adam Deal on 610 The Sports Animal this morning. That's what he talked about. Also, the Valley Vikings, and this is going to be Friday, I believe.
Yep.
Friday night football, Valley Vikings versus the Albuquerque High Bulldogs, that's the streak that Rio Grande doesn't want any part of, was the old Albuquerque High Bulldogs losing streak. So that's one of the other games that'll be here, as well as the El Dorado Eagles, who might be one of the best teams here. At least they may have the best quarterback in the state. The El Dorado Eagles versus West Mesa Mustangs. That's a community on Friday night. And here might be the game of the week here. Well, it is the game of the week here on Proview Networks, and I believe it'll be on
My 50.
On My 50, and that's going to be the Volcano Vista Hawks versus La Cueva Bears. La Cueva, maybe number 1, maybe number 2. Cleveland's probably the top team in the state this year. And you got the Mayfield Trojans versus the Atrisco Heritage Jaguars, and that's Saturday.
Matchup, yeah.
And that ought to be a good game there as Mayfield comes up to play. And then we have the Belen Eagles and the Del Norte Knights, alma mater right there. Big game there at Milne Stadium, and that's Saturday as well, 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So that's our high school. Make sure you catch it here on Comcast 26. Also, Facebook Live. If you're not watching us now, make sure that you definitely, download Facebook Live. You can catch all those games there as well. And go to the ProviewNetworks.com website, and that'll give you all the information that you need. Hey, real quick, football, we talked about that. Also, Aggies start Saturday night. Any thoughts on that?
Aggies start Saturday night versus Wyoming. They're coming off a bowl win, their first bowl appearance in 56, 57 years, whatever it is. Also, their first year as an independent. They hope they're not many of those years, but unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a conference on the horizon. So I think it's very important for the Aggies to get off to a good start. They do have a bowl tie-in if they can get 6 wins this year. And as of this morning, Wyoming's a 3.5-point favorite. I'm not telling you the Aggies are going to win, but I'm telling you that, Wyoming, new quarterback, lots of new people as well. Maybe they're looking ahead to other games. Maybe the Aggies could
get the jump in there.
And it's a big game for New Mexico State. It's on national TV. They're trying to pack Aggie Memorial. So,
what does that mean? They got like
don't throw
5,000 people in there?
Don't throw
I'm
rocks.
just saying they didn't ever get anybody in there.
Your glass house will get shattered.
There's a reason they're independent, and I'm glad you brought that up because Lobo fans, we talked about it. We got 1 minute left, but we talked about this before. We're closer to New Mexico State than we are Boise State. And,
yes, 100%.
And Lobo fans, wise up. Mike's not going to tell you to buy football tickets. I'm going to tell you to buy football tickets because we really are closer to to New Mexico State than Boise State. And it's not far-fetched to think that there could come a point where UNM would have to go independent as well, and we'd have to play Liberty twice, home and home in football. Who's ever heard of that? I've never heard of that in a football. But I guess if you're independent, it's what you got to do. Hey, we're glad to be back here on Proview Networks. We're going to have some fun this year. Don't forget to catch us on enchantmentsports.com. as well as 610D Sports Animal, cageminds.com for Micah. Thank you, Alden, for everything. We'll see you next week. And until then, God bless you all.